you know, ultimately this is a waste of everyone's time.
It absolutely
Yours
is.
and theirs. And
Understood.
mine.
I'm sorry. I didn't call you.
I will take care of the charges.
Take care of them? How's that?
Zip.
Well, why don't you call Rick right now?
Let's say I had, well, I'm not going to bother him at
But you bother us.
9 o'clock on a Saturday night.
But you're okay with bothering us at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night.
I'm not going to. You guys are quite unreasonable, I think.
Welcome back to the LackLuster channel. The other day, I posted a video featuring a dispute between neighbors. Each neighbor had a survey done on their property, and the lines did not add up.
Our survey shows that it's our property.
Right, well,
So how is it that you're going to charge us with criminal trespass?
We'll let the prosecutors figure it out, okay? I've been down there. I know what we're looking at. So where's this road right here?
I thought you knew where everything was. Are you the appropriate party to call? I didn't call you.
You want to be
No,
a smart
I'm
ass
just...
like that? This looks like criminal trespass to me, okay?
To see that video, use the links in the description. I've stayed in contact with Kelly, who has brought to my attention another incident featuring the same department, the same neighbors, but a different problem. In the summer of 2023, the neighbors were putting in a septic tank. The workers contracted to do the job dumped gravel on Kelly's property. Kelly called the contractor and let them know that it was dumped in the wrong place. The contractor returned, moved the gravel, and left a little bit behind to repair for some of the damage that was left by the truck and other equipment. In the end, the contractor even raked it out to make it look as nice as possible. Considering the issue done, Kelly then decided that she didn't want the gravel there and that it could be useful somewhere else, and elected to move it by hand to another location. That evening, an officer of the Oakland Police Department arrived at their home.
Hello?
hello.
Hey.
Are you Kelly?
I am.
I'm Chris Cower of the PD.
Hi.
So I got a call about crushed stone and getting moved and...
Yeah. So apparently they had a septic system put in
Yeah,
by Rick,
yeah.
and they dumped a load of crushed stone on our property. So I texted Rick and I said, hey, your guy just dumped some crushed stone on our property. He's like, oh, so sorry, no problem. I'll totally take it out and make it just like it was before.
Okay.
So they took out most of it, but then they raked a bunch of it around in the driveway, which I didn't want it there because of the lawnmower.
Yeah.
So I raked it up together and I was pulling it out and putting it up underneath the hedges under there where the water runs down to the lake.
Okay.
So, and he apparently objected to that. And who's screaming at me, whose stone is that? Well, I'm assuming it's mine if Rick left it and spread it out on my property after he finished the tank. So.
How'd you leave it with Rick?
I didn't want to bug Rick again.
Yeah.
And so I just decided I would just put it up here. Because,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, if you want to give Rick a call, I'm sure he will corroborate
Yeah,
that.
well, because I understand you guys have a property dispute down there. And,
Well,
you know, that's neither here nor there. But
yeah.
if they paid for that material, then it's their
I don't know
material.
what they've paid for.
Yeah.
Because they paid for a septic system. Now,
Yeah.
Rick used material to do their septic and it's done, and the material he dumped on our property, he spread it out and said he was finished.
Yeah,
So that you would have to check with him on.
yeah,
And if it is theirs, they need to get it off because it's trespassing.
yeah.
But,
Well,
I mean,
that's the property.
that's a civil issue altogether.
Yeah, exactly. But
So,
if the material is part of that project, that's their material. They paid for the project, and that's their
well,
material.
Rick spread it out on our land and said he was finished.
Yeah. Yeah, so the video they have is you going down there and loading up a wheelbarrow. And
Yeah, it's
bringing-
our property that I was
Okay.
on.
Yeah, but they claim it's their property.
Oh, it absolutely isn't.
Yeah, yeah.
No. There's a line spray painted on the ground by the surveyor if you
Hey,
want.
sir, Chris Cowan
This is my husband, Barry.
from the PD.
Yeah,
I probably realize that.
But I mean, the land I was on is ours. I have a survey. There's
Yeah.
lines on the ground. There's
Yeah.
pins in the ground. As
Yeah.
for whose stone that is, Rick left it with us.
Yeah.
That he was going to restore our property to exactly like it was before.
Yeah.
They picked up, like I said, they picked up with the backhoe.
Yeah.
And then he spread it out with the rake and he left.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just figured I didn't want to make an enemy out of Rick by making him come back and
Yeah.
scratch it all out again.
Yeah.
So I just decided I was going to put it another place on our property. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what I'll probably do, ultimately, like I said, if they have paid, I'll reach out to Rick. If they have paid for that material, that's their material. It's got to go back.
well, then Rick needs to get it off our property.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, you moved quite a bit of it up.
It's right. It's still right there. If they want it, they can come get it. But I mean, I think
Well,
it's
no, it'll be up to you to move it back. You know what I mean? But
on our property, somewhere different on our property.
Well, you got to remember, that's a disputed property.
it is not.
Yeah.
The part that stone was on is not disputed in any
Right on
way.
the side of the road, right there.
Yep.
Okay.
If you'd like to see our survey and their survey, you can figure out it is not in dispute.
Well, you guys are engaged in a legal conflict.
We're going to be suing them, yes. We aren't in that stage yet, but yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but absolutely, positively, the stone was on our property. Rick left it with us that it was ours. He spread it out. I didn't want to bug him again.
Yeah.
I just decided I
Yeah,
didn't want it there because the mower was going to throw it all over and probably break their windows, which they don't want, I'm sure. So
Yeah, I'll have to reach out to him and see.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if they have paid for that material's theirs.
if they paid for a project and that project is done and Rick spread material on our property, I'm pretty sure Rick can determine whose stone that is.
Yeah, but like I said, if the material is theirs, it's going back to them, one way or the other.
If the material is theirs, Rick shouldn't have spread it on our property.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it is actually. It's here.
yes, it
it's
is.
actually absolutely.
It's disputed property.
It is
No,
not. No. Wait.
It is not disputed property.
Yeah.
That is ours.
Calm down.
Okay. Well, that's not what they say.
They always lie when the police come.
Okay.
We have surveys. We have 2 surveys.
But the property's right on the edge of their driveway.
That's-
Or I should say, the material was right on the edge of their driveway.
That doesn't matter.
It's not. Hold on.
The pile was right there.
It's not their driveway, though. Okay. So their survey.
You're saying that they don't even own the driveway?
They don't.
No.
And the
They
camp
don't.
and all that other
They own the camp, but you want to come down and take a look? Because you seem to have.
I don't
Wait,
want to.
you seem to have an issue.
Fun.
Hang on. You seem to have an issue with it.
There's no issue. All I'm saying is, ultimately, if they've paid for that material, that's their material.
Well, then you can ask Rick about
Yeah,
that.
no, that's
if
what I'm
Rick
gonna
left
do.
it, if Rick dumped it on our property, and
Yeah.
the way he left it with us was he was finished. He spread out what he didn't use in their
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You could go to court over it, I guess, but I'm not sure the PD
Well, I'm not going
is
to
in
court
a
over
position to decide who's.
I'm not going to.
But what I'm saying is, okay, so every time we call the police,
Yeah.
it's a civil issue, right?
Yeah. Well,
So-
the property certainly is. It's the material. That's a physical item. The material that you're hauling off with the wheelbarrow.
Yeah, but
that's,
to try to decide
theirs.
whose property it is,
yeah.
it's sitting on.
The material.
I get that.
Yeah.
Is it though? Because
Well, yeah, they paid for the project. I mean, that'll be up to
okay,
Rick.
that'll be up to Rick.
Yeah,
So why
okay.
don't you contact
Yeah,
Rick?
that's what I'm going to do.
Because
And then contact us.
but
Yeah.
the way Rick left it with us was that he was done. He was going to get rid of the material. He got rid of most of the material. I wasn't happy. I didn't call him back because I didn't want to piss him off.
Yeah.
So
He's a good guy.
I know. I just decided that I would move it where it would better be served up on the underneath the row of hemlocks where they just finished
Yeah.
the project and they didn't put enough stuff.
Yeah.
So you know what? If Rick thinks it's their material, Rick can come take it and put it back because he's the one that spread it on our property.
To be 100% clear, the property does not belong to the neighbors and is not a part of the disputed property lines. Kelly's survey shows that it is her property, and the neighbor's survey shows that it is not their property.
You know, honestly, I get the text messages from Rick,
Yeah.
all of them.
Okay.
You know, very sorry. He didn't know it was your property. It is. And I said, okay, but if it's for your convenience and you're going to remove it and clean it up, that's fine. And he said, yep, I will. I'll see to it. I'll make it just like it was before. They finished the project yesterday. I mean, you can't put any more material in their septic system. I don't know, did they buy material or did they buy a job? I don't know. That's a debate. That's
I
completely
don't,
debatable.
I don't. Well, what isn't debatable is if that material is part of that job, or Rick is just throwing that in. But if it's their material, let's say.
Well, why don't you call Rick right now?
Let's say I had. Well, I'm not going to bother him at
But you bother us.
9 o'clock on a Saturday night.
But you're okay with bothering us at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night.
I'm not going to. You guys are quite unreasonable, I see.
Actually,
All I'm trying to explain is, ultimately, I just want to resolve the situation.
Yep.
So if I have my driveway paved and they have some leftover stuff, even if they're done, I've paid for the leftover stuff. You can't just come along and take it.
if you leave it on my property, then it's trespass.
Then you call me and I come tell the people to remove it from your property. The problem is that property is in dispute down there.
It is not in
It is
dispute.
not.
Okay, don't.
You say you guys own it. They say they own it. So it's disputed. So
Well-
you got to settle that in court.
Wait,
I can't weigh into that.
can I just say one thing?
Sure.
Okay, so each of us has a survey. The part that where that material was is not disputed in either. I mean, it's on our survey. It's not on their survey.
Okay, so you're saying the pile of material, because it's on your property, it's now your property.
No, not necessarily, but
Okay.
because Rick left it that.
That's essentially what you're saying.
No,
No.
but it was on our property, and the
Yeah.
contractor said he
Yeah.
was finished.
Yeah.
He cleaned it up to the degree he was going to clean it
Yeah.
up, and I just chose to clean it up more because I didn't want that being blown around with the lawnmower.
Yeah.
That's literally it.
Well, it's on
So-
the side of the pile where you were getting with the wheelbarrow, because I saw the video, was on the side of the driveway.
But it's not their property. They
say it is.
But okay, would you look at a survey? Are you in a position to do that?
Rick, I'm not going to wade into property disputes.
But
you know
okay,
what I mean, that's outside of the law.
I understand that, but you're
the
saying
ownership of the material.
But you're saying that where the material was on their property.
No, I have no idea if it's your property or their property.
Okay.
I have no idea.
It's absolutely on our property.
Okay.
Okay, that's not debated. But they lie every time you guys come.
They claim it's absolutely on their property. You see what I'm saying? So it's a he said.
Okay,
she
so
said.
Bob Knowlton.
What isn't in debate is whether or not they own the material. They do own the material.
How do you know that?
Well, I'm assuming Rick is going to say that that's all part of the project.
Well, then why did Rick spread it on our property? Because I told him it was our property and that we needed to get it off.
We're just going around.
Well, I understand that, but I think what the bottom line here is that whose material it is very much in debate. You know, you pay.
No, they pay for it. Did you pay for this rock right here? You paid for this rock. Mm-hmm. They didn't. They can't just come up with a weird.
No, obviously.
You know what I mean?
But if the contractor comes in, he mistakenly dumps material on your property.
Yeah.
That he's going to use in a project.
Yeah.
He finishes his project, and then he spreads it on your property and says he's finished.
Yeah, then it's his responsibility to get it off your.
Well, then he can come
in
and we'll deal with that. But what I'm saying is, the way he left it with me is that whatever was done there, it was finished, and whatever was on the ground was mine. I don't get in the middle of Rick and their deal or whatever.
Yeah.
The stone is Rick's.
Yeah.
However, he parts it out to them, and I don't get in the middle. I don't know what their job agreement was.
Yeah.
But the way Rick left it with us was he mistakenly dumped it. He cleaned it to the degree he was going to clean it. I just cleaned it more. And there was a lot of material there. I was surprised how much there was.
Yeah.
So I raked it up last night, and I was going to bring it up tonight underneath where it needs to be. So,
yeah.
You know what? I don't really think. I mean, unless Rick comes in and says, "Oh no, it's absolutely their material," well, then he shouldn't have left it.
Yeah, I agree. If that's what he says, yeah, I agree. However, like I said, just because the material may or may not have been left on your property, you say it's your property, that's fine. That doesn't mean that material is now yours.
I understand that.
Okay.
But the circumstance wasn't that. It wasn't that, I know it's theirs and they accidentally put it on my property and I'm going to go steal it. It was Rick. We talked to Rick, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know it was your property. I'll clean it all up."
Yeah.
Well, he cleaned it up to a degree.
Yeah.
And contractor degree. So I just wasn't happy with it. I didn't want to bug him again, make him come and rake it and put it in a wheelbarrow or whatever. So I was bringing it up here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be blowing it around with a lawnmower. That's it. And they can scream all they want. What do they? Their project is finished. What do they want it for?
So you're saying you own the camps down there as well?
No.
Oh.
We own.
Would you like to see? There's spray paint on the ground that Bob Knowlton put on the ground.
Yeah. Who's Bob Knowlton?
Their surveyor.
Their surveyor?
Their surveyor. They literally are too numb to know, and he keeps coming over and putting marks on the ground to show them what they own. There's a spray paint line across the driveway showing where they own.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, that's all right. The only thing, the reason because it's irrelevant really to me. It's just it's about the material itself.
But the relevance is Rick spread it on our property and left it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm assuming it's Rick's material. I am not in the middle of their project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Rick left it with me.
Yeah.
He was done. He fixed our property. He left. It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay? You can understand where I'm coming from?
No, I can see your...
I'm not trying to steal their material.
Yeah, I can see your point. I mean...
And they've been very acrimonious, and granted, we're not happy either, but they have lied every time the police have come.
Yeah.
That it's our property, it's Connie's property. I mean, we have 2 surveys.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking you to be a surveyor, but there are spray paint marks on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, and see, we can't weigh into survey. That's all. You guys got to settle that in court.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But you know what? They're claiming a piece of our property as theirs, which isn't. Yeah. They've got the little fence down there. We haven't done anything to it. We're going to handle that in court.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But there are spray paint marks on the ground where there is absolutely, positively no dispute.
Yeah.
Okay? But yet they literally lie every time the police come. And I know they're buddies with the police and whatever.
I've never met these people before in my life.
Well, good. I'm glad. But I get the feeling that there's some relationship in the upper echelon, not you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But there's a real favoring of them. And
this guy's from Falmouth.
Yeah, it's their son.
Okay.
Yeah. So, he's screaming at me, "Whose material is that, huh?" It's like, if it's yours, come get it. It's mine. I'm going to move it because I don't want it here.
Yeah.
The more they drive over it, the harder it's going to be to get it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is why I was doing it now.
What you're saying is they can just grab, you just want the material moved?
Exactly.
Okay. So, all right.
If they want the rest of it, take it.
Yeah.
But the way it was left with Rick and us, it was, I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I would have preferred Rick cleaned it all up and took it away.
Yeah.
But it's just literally in my way, so.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the fix then. You know, to
have him get it out of there.
Yeah.
I don't think he's man enough, but whatever.
Yeah. You know, ultimately, this is a waste of everyone's time.
It absolutely
Yours
is.
and theirs and
Understood.
mine.
I'm sorry. I didn't call you.
No, I know, but
This time-
you guys ought to just sit down and have a dinner together
You know
and
what?
settle the whole
that-
thing.
But, you know,
That won't happen.
No.
you know what
No,
happened?
no.
Okay, so this whole thing is about the stupid 4 little orange posts that are out by the side of the road,
Yeah.
right? Our lawyer's like, hey, you know what? You can slow traffic. You own the property. Try to narrow it a little bit because we don't want to put speed bumps in because people freak out. They show up in our yard and say, you stay the hell off our property. And we said, okay, but ditto.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And every time the police come, oh no, we own this and we own that. And the surveyor comes out and he does a survey and he shows them and he spray paints on the ground 10 times and they still tell the police that they own whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to waste time.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, ultimately, you got once a judge rules on this, then it can become our issue because then it becomes a criminal trespass thing and the whole.
You know,
nine
you
yards.
say that. You say that. They had cars parked on our lawn for 2 months last summer. We called the police and they're like, well, that's a boundary dispute.
Yeah.
It's not. That boundary is not in any dispute.
Well, it is because you think, not think.
We have a survey.
You claim it's yours, they claim it's theirs.
Yeah, but okay.
So that's the dispute.
When the police come to such a thing,
Yeah.
do 2 surveys that actually show an abutting line, both are matching.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean do you get into that?
We don't.
Okay.
No, that's 100% civil.
Then why are we here?
Because
the
of
material. Okay.
So if I pave my driveway and
I
I
get
have
it.
a bunch of material left over, right?
Yeah.
That's still my material.
Well,
right?
if indeed you
depends,
paid for the actual material.
Well, they paid for a job, obviously.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if you pay for a job,
Yeah.
okay, I do taxes. So
Yeah.
if you come to me to get your taxes done, and I use 5 sheets of paper, and well, there's a 6th one on the desk, but I don't use it for your tax, is it yours? You know what I'm saying? It gets very murky. So Rick left it with us.
Yeah.
You know, can you see where I'm coming from?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, if Rick tells me that, that all that material was part of that job and these people paid
Isn't
for
it
it,
slightly subjective, though?
that's their material. It's not subjective at all.
No, but what I'm saying is,
In fact, if they push the matter, then I got to charge you with theft because you're clearly on camera with a wheelbarrow taking
on my own property, taking stuff that I was told was mine.
Again, if that property is yours, and it probably is.
Yes.
Regardless, that material is
No,
not.
I understand.
So-
Well, perhaps. You say it isn't.
Just because my car breaks down at the end of the driveway, right? Your driveway doesn't mean you can get in.
No, I totally understand that.
Right?
But
mean, it's the same thing.
I have a text message thread with Rick
Yeah.
from yesterday.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, Rick, what's up with that? He's, oh, I'm so sorry, very, very sorry. I will make it like it never happened.
Yeah.
I got him on video raking it, and then I went down. I'm like, there's like so much here that it's going to roll all over the place and get in a lawnmower.
Yeah.
So instead of bugging him again, making him come back out, I went to school with Rick. So I just decided, and I didn't know they were even coming tonight. Like, they just showed up and they're like, oh, pissy. So, I'm sorry, but my understanding was it was mine to deal with.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
No, like I said, I just got to talk to Rick about it and
We'll wait
see,
for your call.
But and the other
Yes,
thing,
we'll wait for your call.
I, just in general. So when you sign a contract with someone for a job, they say this price for putting in your septic tank. If they actually give you a bill of sale for each, load of rock or in each whatever, okay, maybe, but that's Rick's thing. He shouldn't have told me, we're done and it's there and it's yours to deal with, basically, right? I mean, I don't want to get into it with Rick, but that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, like I said, if Rick said no, that all that material is part of the job and these people paid for it, then yeah, it's their material, 100%. Then it becomes a matter of do they want to pursue charges because you're clearly on camera loading it into a wheelbarrow, taking it away. You know what I mean? So I understand.
Pursue charges because Rick told me it was mine.
Well, again, I got to talk to Rick about it. So it all depends.
Okay, so if Rick says no, it's theirs. So
well, what he may say is that the job was done. One of the landowners wasn't happy, so I went back and I spread some stuff to try and smooth it out. That wasn't part of the project.
Yeah.
If that's what he's saying, then we got no issue here. But if he's saying that material is, who's this guy?
it's our neighbor.
Oh. if he's saying that material is part of the project, and I don't want to wade into it.
In all due respect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He looks after us because he knows. So if the pile was next to their septic system, and I'm like, hell, I'm gonna go get some of that.
Yeah.
Well, of course. But my understanding 100% was Rick was patched our property up. He was done. He's just gonna come pick up his backhoe, whatever it is. So, if I was misled, I'm gonna get charged with theft.
All depends if they want to pursue it, or you can bring the material back to them. You know what I mean?
And where would you like me to put it? Because I'm not putting it back on my property.
Well, you can put it over by the septic system.
But won't I be trespassing? They told me to stay off their property.
I'll ask them about that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I would much rather, if that's what Rick tells me, then yeah, that's going to be my comment to you. Well, you can either bring it back or you can get charged with theft, one of the two. You know, and then I'll ask them, hey, you good with her bringing the material
and
back?
They'll say no.
Well, then you know, it is what it is.
Now, my observation here is that the material was on my property, and now it's still on my property in a different place.
Yeah.
So is that theft for me to move the material?
Yeah. So, like I said, if we just keep going round and round.
No, it's a different question.
Yeah. Well, if they've paid for that material,
yep,
then yes. If they haven't, and Rick was just doing that to make it right, make the driveway right, or make you guys happy, then that's technically Rick's material, and he can do whatever he told you to move it or whatever.
Yeah.
But if that's not the case, then yeah, no, we'll have an issue for sure. If that's project
and
material.
if I have the text messages from Rick telling me what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And now if he says something else.
Yeah, I can take a look at them if you guys want me to.
Hang on.
Let's go.
All right. Okay. Hey, your guys just dumped some material on our property by Prelgovisk. Prelgovisk have no right to make any changes there. Oh, I didn't know they did that. I'll call them right now. We will clean it up. He said he dumped some crushed stone there to use in the septic tank hole. I'll make sure it's back to original. I guess he didn't know that was on your property. Very sorry. I said, if it's just for your convenience and you will be moving it and fixing the damage, that's fine, because I made a big rut as well.
Yeah.
Okay? Thanks. He's like, okay, I understand. So then he had I had another question for him about the road out here, which is what he goes on about. But
yeah.
So, if that's, if he's going to now turn around and say, oh no, it's theirs, I'll bring it back. I'm not stealing anything.
Yeah.
My understanding is totally that this is what Rick said. And
yeah. I can definitely see that.
It's Rick's material.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So I'll just kind of explain that, and like I said, I'll give Rick a shout tomorrow. And
I think it's silly. I mean, the whole thing is.
I agree with you 100%.
Call us after.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because I mean, this whole thing has wasted enough of Oakland PD's time, I think.
Yeah.
And
well, this is the first time I've ever been down in here to deal with this.
Lucky you.
Yeah, so,
Lucky you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry, but my understanding, again, I was not trying to do anything to them, or I just objected to how much. I mean, that stone, I have stone. It doesn't ever completely settle, So it's sitting on top of gravel, and it's moving and rock. It's like I was mowing the lawn. It's like, no, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
okay.
Again, I mean, charging me with theft, our lawyers are gonna have a field day with that. I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have a dog in the fight. I mean.
No, I understand.
Like I said, if
I get it, but my understanding.
Their stuff, then that's their stuff.
Well, I can return it, but my understanding was it's not their stuff.
Yeah.
It's Rick's stuff.
Okay.
And he mentioned that, didn't he?
Well, I mean, he said my guy dumped dumped the material shit. We didn't know it was your property.
Yeah.
I'll make it just like it was, which he didn't.
Yeah.
But whatever. He's a contractor.
Yeah.
So again, sorry.
I thought he was pretty responsive to it, to tell you the truth.
What's that?
What in terms of the whole text string there?
Oh yeah, no.
He
was out here. I mean, he was out here and back and forth. So
a lot of guys would just be like,
blow it off. Yeah, forget. No, Rick's a good guy.
He's a good
guy. So again, that's why I didn't want to bug him. I could have been like, you didn't pick this shit up enough. Get out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just trying to just deal with it
in
the least obnoxious way I could.
Yeah.
And then
it looks good what you did.
Well, okay, so they.
As long as that's Rick's material, not theirs.
Well, let's hope, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But no, honestly, the Kennebec County Soil and Water District came out. They did a plan for the road, and when they came in and did it, they didn't put enough material. So I'm like, great, I'll put it there. It's perfect.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Sorry, it's such a waste.
No, it is what it is. This is why we get paid the big bucks.
Oh, I bet
to
you
wade
do.
into these things.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
All right.
All right, folks. I'll get out of here for tonight.
All right. Thank
Have a
you.
good night. I'll
Yep.
follow up with you tomorrow.
All right. Let me know whatever we need to do.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey.
So I talked to Rick. Finally got a hold of him. I played phone tag with him a ton, and actually was able to talk to him today. And he said that stone was part of the project. So it is what it is.
I've got videos of Rick spreading out the balance on our property because he said he was fixing the damage.
Okay. Yeah. What are you doing out there?
I was cleaning some bricks.
Oh, good grief.
So Rick told me that he quoted him like on the job.
Yeah.
That the stone was not separate. So in which case the contractor usually takes the extras home or does whatever he wants with them.
Yeah. Yeah, but ultimately you didn't pay for that.
He repaired damage on our property. If Rick was not authorized to give that material away, then you should be charging him with theft, not me.
Well, be that as it may, obviously you guys didn't purchase that material.
Yeah.
Rick has told me that material was for that project, so they own that material.
Okay, Rick told me that he was repairing damage he did to my property. And I have the videos of him repairing it, and I have the video of them spreading it out, him raking it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the intent, okay, so the law reads that you have to deprive someone of their property.
Yeah.
The intent to deprive, there's no way. That was my property, on my property.
Yeah.
The contractor literally told me he was repairing my property. I have videos of him raking it all out, if you want to see those.
He explained that you complained about the damage to the
Yes, I
property.
did. Yep.
And then, because we reviewed those text messages the other night.
Yep.
And so you had said that his guys had dumped stuff in the
Yep.
wrong place.
Correct.
And things
Yep.
of that nature. So
And-
he's like, I'll clean it up. And
I'll clean it up and I'll repair the damage. I'll make it like it was originally. Now,
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with what he did.
Yeah.
Because he left way too much material there.
Yeah.
And he told me that he was done and that was the repair.
Yeah.
So, in my mind, that's mine to move. I'm not going to ask them to move it or him to move it.
Yeah.
So that's...
Yeah, so I mean, again, ultimately, you didn't purchase that material; they did. It's their stuff.
Rick gave it to me.
Yeah. Well, that's not what Rick has told me.
I have a video of Rick putting it on our property. Do you want to see that? Or are you just going to charge me without any evidence?
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge you, but I'm going to give you the option to take that stuff back, and then I will take care of the charges.
Take care of them? How's that?
Zip.
Well, I don't have the opportunity to bring it back before you charge me.
Well, no, because I don't want to get into the game of, I don't hear from you for the next 2 months. You know what I mean?
Well, how about you hear from my lawyer tomorrow?
Well,
Because
that's fine. Okay.
Despite the text messages and video evidence that show the contractor intended to leave the rocks in place, Officer Cowan still threatens Kelly with charges of theft and orders her to move the rocks back to a new location. The charges ended up never being filed because of her cooperation with his coercion. But the saga with the neighbors continues. There's not a court date yet, but Kelly and her husband have spoke with their lawyer and hope to see a case regarding the property line dispute soon. While editing this video, Kelly sent me another incident that happened just today, where their neighbor's contractors again caused damage to their property.
Rock. Help me. Yeah, you're right on the rock. You... Go for it. Oh, right behind you.
Barry and Kelly have just recently started their YouTube channel, but they're posting more and more as things occur. So if you want to follow the case up close, be sure to check out the link for that in the description and pinned comment.